Let me tell you something powerful. Most people fail not because they don't have ideas, but because they cannot protect their ideas long enough for them to grow. Every great dream begins like a small fire. If you blow on it too early, the wind will kill it. If you show it too early, people will laugh at it. If you defend it too early, their doubts will weaken it. That's why I always say, never rush to tell people what you do. The world doesn't need your words, it needs your results. When I was a young man with no money, no connections, and no technology background, I had a dream about the internet changing China. If I had told too many people, maybe I would have quit because the world was louder than my belief. But I learned that silence is power. Silence gives you space to focus. Silence protects you from negativity. Silence builds the surprise that makes success impossible to ignore. You don't need to announce yourself because one day your results will announce you to the world louder than any speech ever could. When you begin with an idea, it is just like a seed, very small, very fragile, something you cannot show to the world and expect everyone to immediately understand. In the early stages, an idea has no proof, no evidence, no strong roots to defend itself. It lives only in your heart and in your imagination. And that is why it is so easy to destroy. If you go out and tell everyone what you are planning to do before you even start building it, people will throw doubt, questions, and criticism at you. And if your idea is not yet strong enough, you may lose faith in it. Think about a seed planted in the soil. It takes time before it breaks through the ground and shows a green sprout. If you dig it up every day to show others, it will never grow. Ideas work in the same way. They need protection in the beginning. They need your silence, your discipline, and your patience. I remember when I was telling people about Alibaba in the very early days, they would laugh at me and ask if I was crazy. I said the internet will change China, and they said, Jack, you don't even know how to code. You don't even know how to use a computer very well. Their doubts could have killed my confidence if I had listened too much, because my idea was not yet strong enough to stand against their judgment. The truth is, in the beginning, the idea belongs only to you, and nobody else can see the picture as clearly as you do. To others, it looks like nothing. It looks impossible. It looks foolish. That is why you must hold it close to yourself until it gains enough strength. You must nurture it in silence until it is ready to stand up in the open. An idea is fragile because it cannot defend itself with results yet. When you start something, you don't have the money, you don't have the reputation, you don't have the team, and you don't have the proof that your dream can work. All you have is the belief inside you. If you tell people too early, they will ask questions like, how will you do it? Where will the money come from? Who will help you? And because you don't yet have those answers, you will feel weaker. The more they ask, the more you may start doubting yourself. This is how many great ideas die. Not because they were impossible, but because they were spoken too early to the wrong audience. You must understand, the beginning of every dream looks fragile. Look at a butterfly. Before it flies, it is just a caterpillar. Look at a baby. Before it grows strong, it cannot even walk. Everything valuable in this world starts weak, and only with time does it gain strength. Your idea is the same. If you protect it, if you let it grow inside you, it will mature into something powerful enough to fight for itself. But if you expose it too early, when it is still fragile, people's words can crush it before it even takes its first step. So when you have an idea, remember that silence is not weakness. Silence is protection, not because you are afraid, but because you are wise enough to know it is not ready yet. The seed does not need everyone's approval. It needs water, soil, sunlight, and time. In the same way, your idea does not need everyone's opinion. It needs your focus, your hard work, and your belief. The right time to show people is not when it is still fragile, but when it has grown strong enough to speak for itself through action, through results, through success. Until then, guard it, protect it, and let it grow quietly inside you, because the most fragile stage of your dream is also the most important stage of its life. The world has a very interesting habit. It always doubts you before it believes you. People are not trained to see visions. They are trained to see results. And because of this, when you begin talking about your dream, they look at you with suspicion, with laughter, with disbelief. They ask themselves, if it was really possible, why hasn't someone else done it already? And this becomes the wall between your dream and their acceptance. In the early stage of every great achievement, the world does not stand up and clap. It questions you, it mocks you, and sometimes it even tries to stop you. But this doubt is not proof that you are wrong. It is only proof that you are ahead of others in seeing the future. When I started talking about Alibaba, I was just a simple teacher. No money, no power, no background in technology. I told people that one day the internet will change the way business is done in China. Do you know what they said? They said, Jack, you are daydreaming. Jack, you are crazy. Jack, you don't understand how this world works. They doubted me because they could not see what I was seeing. They looked at the present, I was looking at the future. And because most people live only in the present, they cannot understand the vision of someone who looks years ahead. That is why you must understand that their doubt is not your failure. Their doubt is their limitation. The truth is, belief is expensive. People don't like to spend belief on something uncertain. They wait until you prove it. And then they suddenly say, I always knew you could do it. But before that moment, you must walk alone. The world doubts because believing requires risk. To believe in you before you succeed is to take a chance that maybe you will fail. And most people don't want to take that chance. They prefer to play safe, so they stand back, they criticize, they laugh, and they say, let's see if you can really do it. This is why you should never depend on early applause, because it will not come. You must depend on your inner belief until the day your success forces the world to change its mind. If you look at history, this pattern repeats itself again and again. When people first heard about airplanes, they said humans could never fly. When they heard about electricity, they said it was dangerous and useless. When the first cars came, they laughed and said horses are better. Every great invention, every great change was doubted before it was accepted. The world always doubts first, believes later. So why should your dream be any different? Expect the doubt, prepare for it, and use it as fuel. If the world believes too quickly, maybe your dream is not big enough. If they laugh at you, maybe that is a sign you are working on something important. What I learned in my journey is that belief from others comes only after you have already walked through the fire of their doubt. In the early days, I wanted people to understand me, to cheer for me, to encourage me, but they didn't. Instead, they gave me reasons why I would fail. At first, it hurt, but slowly, I realized this is the law of the world. People need to see results, not dreams. So I stopped expecting them to believe, and I started expecting myself to prove. That shift in mindset is powerful, because once you stop needing their belief, you become free to build in silence. And when you finally achieve it, the same people who doubted you will turn around and say, I knew you had it in you. This is not hypocrisy, it is simply human nature. So when you carry a dream inside you, do not be discouraged by the doubt of others. Do not think their disbelief is the measure of your potential. Remember, the world doubts first and believes later, and this is why your responsibility is not to convince them with words, but to convince them with results. They may not see what you see now, but one day when the results are standing in front of them, they will have no choice but to believe silence protects your focus in ways that words never can. Because every time you speak too much about your plans, you spread your energy thinner and thinner. When you tell people what you are going to do, you spend time explaining, defending, and answering their doubts instead of using that same time to actually build. The human mind has only so much energy each day, and if you waste it on conversations about your dream instead of actions toward your dream, you lose the sharpness of your focus. Talking creates noise, while silence creates space to concentrate, to reflect, and to work with clarity. When you hold your vision quietly inside, all your energy is centered on one thing. execution, not explanation. When I was working on Alibaba in the beginning, I could have gone around telling everyone how big it was going to be, how it would change the future of business. But I didn't, because I knew every time I opened my mouth to explain, people would challenge me with questions I could not yet answer. They would want proof, and I had none at that stage. If I kept arguing with them, it would have drained me. Instead, I chose to keep quiet, gather my team, and focus on building piece by piece. Because silence is like a shield. It stops the outside world from distracting you with opinions, negativity, or even unnecessary praise. Praise is also dangerous because when people cheer for you too early, you may start to relax before you've achieved anything real. Focus is the secret weapon of every successful person, and focus requires discipline. The world around you is noisy. Everyone has advice. Everyone has opinions. Everyone thinks they know better. If you keep talking, you invite their voices into your mind, and those voices can scatter your concentration. But if you remain silent and keep your plans within a small circle of trusted people, you protect your inner focus. You don't owe explanations to everybody. The best use of your time is not to convince others what you are doing is possible, but to make it possible. Talking to convince others is like spending your fuel on smoke. It looks impressive for a moment, but it doesn't move you forward. Working silently is like spending your fuel on the engine. It may not be visible to everyone, but it gets you closer to your destination. The discipline of silence also trains your mind to be more intentional. When you don't talk, you listen more, you observe more, you think more clearly. Focus is not just about blocking distractions outside, it's about sharpening the vision inside. Silence gives you that sharpness. The less you speak about your dream, the more your brain works on solutions instead of explanations. Many times we confuse talking about progress with actual progress, but they are not the same. You can talk all day about what you want to do and feel like you are moving, but in reality, you are still standing still. Silence forces you to measure progress only by actions and results, not by words. Another important reason why silence protects focus is that it reduces pressure. When you tell everyone your big goals, you create expectations. People begin to watch you, to judge you, to compare your progress with your words. That pressure can crush your creativity and make you feel trapped. But when you are silent, you are free. You can experiment, fail quietly, adjust, and keep moving without anyone keeping score. That freedom keeps your focus alive, because focus is not only about concentration, it is also about resilience. The ability to stay with your vision even when things go wrong. Silence gives you that resilience by giving you space to fail in peace and rise again. The world often confuses silence with weakness, but silence is actually strength. It is the strength to resist the urge to prove yourself with words, the strength to stay committed to action, the strength to allow your focus to build something solid before you announce it. When you are silent, you are not hiding, you are protecting. You are creating a bubble around your focus so it cannot be touched, distracted, or broken by others. That is why so many great leaders, inventors, and dreamers worked in silence before the world ever heard their names. Their silence was not emptiness, it was concentration. And when the results finally came, the world understood without needing explanations. That is the power of letting silence guard your focus. Results speak louder than words because words can be doubted, ignored, or forgotten. But results cannot be denied. You can talk endlessly about what you want to do. You can try to convince people of your dream. But at the end of the day, people will not truly believe until they see something real in front of their eyes. Words create expectations, but results create proof. That is why if you spend your time telling everyone how great your plan is, you are only feeding their ears. If you spend your time actually building and showing results, you are feeding their eyes, and people trust what they see much more than what they hear. This is why every successful person eventually learns that silence in the beginning and results in the end is the most powerful strategy. when I was building Alibaba. I did not need to argue with every person who said I would fail. I could have wasted endless energy explaining the future of e-commerce, convincing them that the internet would transform China, but it would have been useless. They could not imagine it, and no matter how good my words were, they would still doubt. What finally made them believe was not my talking, but the moment they saw thousands of businesses using our platform, the moment they saw Alibaba becoming profitable, the moment they saw that what I said was not a dream, but a reality. That is when silence ended and results took over. Results have a voice that is louder than any speech, and once they are visible, no argument is needed. Words are cheap because anyone can say them. Every day people say, I will start a business, I will become successful, I will do something big. But most of these words never turn into action. That is why people learn not to take words seriously. But results are expensive. They require discipline, sacrifice, patience, and execution. That is why results carry weight. When you show results, people know you paid the price, you did the work, and you earned the outcome. Words can be borrowed, copied, or repeated by anyone, but results cannot be borrowed. They belong only to the person who achieved them. This is why you should not waste time trying to convince others with words, because even if you win the argument, it does not change their hearts. Only results have the power to change both their mind and their respect for you. Another important truth is that results create influence automatically. When you speak without results, you are asking people to trust you. But when you show results, people come to you willingly without you needing to ask. They will want to learn from you. They will want to work with you. They will want to support you because results are magnetic. They attract attention, respect, and opportunities. That is why in business and in life, it is far better to focus on producing results than on making promises. Promises may excite people for a moment, but results inspire them for a lifetime. The greatest leaders in history were not remembered for what they promised to do, but for what they actually did. You must also remember that results do not need translation. When you talk, people interpret your words differently. Some will misunderstand, some will criticize, some will twist them. But when you present results, they speak the same language to everyone. Success is universal. A profitable company, a solved problem, a finished project, these things are undeniable. They do not need defending. That is why results are the ultimate proof. They silence critics more effectively than arguments. They shut down doubt without you having to say a single word. Your results become your voice, your defense, and your reputation. There is also a deep psychological power in letting results speak. When you don't talk too much about what you are going to do, you remove unnecessary pressure and give yourself the freedom to work quietly. And when the results finally appear, the surprise is even greater. People respect quiet workers who suddenly show massive results because it shows discipline and control. It shows that you were not looking for attention, you were looking for achievement. That difference makes people trust you more deeply because they see you are not someone who sells dreams. You are someone who delivers reality. So if you want the world to listen to you, stop talking about what you will do and start showing what you have done. Every action you take, every milestone you reach, every result you produce will speak on your behalf louder than any explanation ever could. Words may inspire for a moment, but results inspire for a lifetime. That is why your silence today, combined with your results tomorrow, will be the strongest voice you could ever have. Not everyone is rooting for you, and this is a truth you must accept early if you want to protect your dream. Many people believe the world is full of support, but in reality, support is rare. Some people will discourage you because they do not understand your vision. Others will discourage you because they are afraid your success will expose their own failures. And some will discourage you simply because they enjoy seeing others fail. If you tell your plans too early, you give them a chance to shoot arrows at your dream before it has even taken its first steps. They will laugh at you, they will criticize you, and they will remind you of every reason why your idea cannot work. If you are not strong enough in that moment, that their negativity can crush your belief before you even begin. There are people in this world who see life as a competition. When you speak about your goals, they feel threatened, as if your progress somehow reduces their own. Instead of cheering for you, they will secretly hope you fail, because your failure makes them feel safe. These are not enemies in obvious form. Sometimes they are friends, colleagues, even family. They smile on the outside but doubt you on the inside. This is why it is dangerous to tell everyone what you are doing. You may think you are sharing excitement, but in reality, you might be handing your dream into the wrong hands. Not everyone wants you to succeed, and silence is your shield against their hidden intentions. Another group of people you must be careful about are those who copy. When you tell your plans to the world, you may inspire someone with more resources, more connections, or more money to take your idea and run faster than you. They may not have your vision, but they can imitate your plan, and because they already have advantages, they can execute quicker and stronger. In the end, you are left watching someone else enjoy the fruits of the tree you planted. This happens because you shared too early. An idea is most vulnerable not only to discouragement, but also to theft. Keeping it quiet allows you to build the foundation before anyone else even knows what is happening. There are also people who laugh, not out of malice, but out of ignorance. They cannot imagine what you see, so their instinct is to reject it. They will say, "That will never work. You are wasting your time. Be realistic." They believe they are protecting you, but in truth, they are limiting you. If you listen too much to their advice, you may abandon something extraordinary just because ordinary minds could not understand it. Great dreams often sound foolish to those who think small. That is why you must not expose your vision to every voice, because too many small minds can drown out your inner belief. Protecting your plan in silence is not arrogance, it is wisdom. In my journey, I met all kinds of people. Some told me I was crazy to start Alibaba. Some laughed that I knew nothing about technology. Some even hoped I would fail so they could be proven right. If I had depended on their approval, Alibaba would not exist today. What I learned is that encouragement is rare and discouragement is common. If you expect everyone to cheer for you, you will be disappointed. But if you expect that some people will doubt you, some will laugh, and some will even hope you fail, you will not be surprised. You will not waste energy fighting them, because you will already know this is the nature of the world. The truth is, you do not need everyone rooting for you. You only need a few who truly believe, and even if you have none, you can still believe in yourself. But to protect that belief, you must keep your plan safe from unnecessary exposure. Silence is not about secrecy, it is about survival. Your dream is too precious to be thrown in front of people who may crush it, copy it, or laugh at it. When it is ready, when you have results, then you can show the world. But before that, guard it carefully, because not everyone who listens to your story wants you to succeed. Some are waiting to see you fall. And the best way to defeat them is not through argument, but through quiet progress that one day becomes undeniable. Surprise is power, because when people do not expect your success, the impact of your achievement is multiplied. When you talk too much about what you are going to do, you give others time to prepare, time to doubt, time to resist. But when you stay silent and suddenly present the results, you catch the world off guard, and that shock forces them to pay attention in a way words never could. People are naturally skeptical. They hear promises every day. They hear big talk everywhere, so they learn to ignore it. But when you quietly work, when you let your actions speak at the right time, the surprise becomes unforgettable. It turns doubters into believers and critics into admirers, not because you argued with them, but because your results arrived when they least expected. When Alibaba began to grow, the surprise was enormous. In the early days, nobody believed a small group of people in Hangzhou could build a company that would challenge global giants. If I had gone around loudly declaring what we would achieve, most people would have dismissed me or copied me. Instead, we worked quietly, step by step, and one day people looked around and realized Alibaba had become unstoppable. The surprise of that moment created power because it was no longer about convincing anyone with explanations. The results spoke so loudly that even those who once laughed had to admit they were wrong. That is the power of surprising people with success. They cannot deny what is already in front of them. Surprise also gives you a strategic advantage in life and in business. If your competitors know your every move, they can block you, copy you, or outpace you. But if you move quietly and strike with results, they are unprepared. By the time they notice, you are already ahead, and catching up becomes difficult. This is how silence and surprise together create strength. The world respects results, but it admires unexpected results even more. Because in that moment, you demonstrate not only success, but mastery, the ability to achieve while everyone else was distracted by other things. This is why many of the most powerful moves in history were done silently until they were ready to be revealed. Surprise has another psychological effect. It inspires. People expect ordinary, they expect average, they expect small progress. When you exceed all those expectations, suddenly it shakes their imagination. It makes them think, if he could do that, maybe I can do something bigger too. The shock of your success not only earns respect, but also plants belief in others. That is why surprise is not only power for you, but also power for those who are watching. Your quiet journey, followed by sudden results, becomes a story that others will tell, a lesson that others will learn from, and an inspiration that others will carry. There is also protection in surprise. When people underestimate you, they leave you alone. They think you are not a threat. They think your dream is too small. They think you cannot succeed. That underestimation gives you freedom to build without too much pressure or interference. Then, when you finally reveal your results, the surprise is even greater. People realize they had ignored you, and now they must respect you. That shift of perception is powerful, because it not only changes how others see you, but also how they treat you. From doubt comes respect, and from respect comes influence. But you can only gain that if you allow surprise to be part of your strategy. The element of surprise also teaches humility. When you don't spend all your time announcing what you will do, you learn to focus inward on the work itself. You don't need external validation. You don't need applause. You don't need approval. You build because you believe, and when the results finally come, they speak louder than your ego ever could. That humility makes the surprise even stronger because people see you as someone who doesn't boast but delivers. The quiet achiever always commands more respect than the loud talker who never follows through, so remember. The greatest victories are the ones nobody saw coming. The world may laugh today, it may ignore you, it may underestimate you, but that is not a disadvantage, it is an opportunity. Use their doubt as your cover, use their underestimation as your shield, and work in silence until the day you can surprise them with results so powerful they have no choice but to respect you. That moment of surprise is your power because it cannot be argued with, it cannot be denied, and it will never be forgotten. So my friends, remember this. Your dream is your seed, and in the beginning it is fragile. Don't expose it too soon. Don't hand it over to doubt. Don't waste it in endless explanations. Protect it in silence, feed it with hard work, and let it grow strong enough to speak for itself. The world will always doubt before it believes, but when you bring results to the table, the same people who laughed will stand in respect. Never forget, words may impress for a moment, but results will echo for a lifetime. So stay quiet when you build, stay focused when you work, and let your success be the noise that nobody can ignore. That is the power of never telling people what you do until the right time comes. I wish you the courage to protect your vision, the discipline to focus, and the strength to keep going when nobody believes. One day, your results will shock the world. Good luck to each of you on your journey, and thank you for listening with your hearts and your minds.